Hello, Trish Vander Mooren, High Desert Homes, bringing you your weekly market update. Today we're talking the week of July 8th through 14, and in the area that I serve, which is Victorville and surrounding, but don't let that stop you. If you're in a different area and you want to know more specifically about your neighborhood, your area, send me a message. Just click and send me a message. Make sure you like and subscribe. I bring you new construction, things to do, different events. I talk about our market update, so make sure you like and subscribe that channel. If you have questions and you want to know more about something different, like anything up here, send me a message, man. I love the engagement. So let's dive into the market update. We're going to talk about things like mortgage rates, new listings. We're talking about expired, cancels, things that are impacting our market and our inventory. And rates and inventory are two major things that we're going to talk about today. So let's dive in and see what's going on. Now, first I want to start with the mortgage rate. So right now, mortgage rates are at this 6.84. As you can see here, 6.84, and then you've got VA and FHA at around 630, somewhere around there. So 628, 630. Those are mortgage rates right now for where we're sitting at this very minute. Now, mortgage rates are, they move around, and then they're also depending upon, where you're at with your credit history. So it's always important to talk to a mortgage lender, which I am not. I am a real estate agent. So I don't claim to know all things lending. So I always direct you to a professional that can really look at your debt to income ratio, your credit scores, identify the right loan package for you. And I've got great friends in their lending industry. So just hit me a message if you want to know more. But mortgage rates, we are below 7%, and we are finally here. Are we here to stay? That's hard to say. At the end of the day, we're seeing some pain, as much as I hate to say that, but it is necessary for us to get inflation down, to start to curb some spending and to have a little bit of a pain in our economy, right? So jobs are getting a little bit tighter. I know firsthand. My partner was looking for a job and did for quite some time. They're not easy to come by right now. So it's getting a little bit harder and harder, and that's going to continue to drive down and help make the decision on the Federal Reserve to decide whether to do a rate cut. Now, there's a lot of people thinking September. It could be November. They could hold a little bit longer. If they do it too quickly, I think I'm in the camp of, if they do it too soon, we basically just unleash everybody's spending again, and we're going to find ourselves in that inflationary problem again. I'm not and I'm not a lender, like I said. So, but these are just my thoughts on the whole thing. Now, Federal Reserve rate does not directly impact mortgage rates. What does is the bond market. The bond market typically predicts and kind of sees where things are going to go and what the Federal Reserve might do, and then they kind of make some impacts on that. So the bond market impacts our mortgage rate, and because we've had some economic data that's coming through, that's what's bringing our rates down. Are we finally below 7% and going to stay here? It's hard to say. I would love to think yes. But I also want to be on the camp of caution here, because if our rates get really low, it unleashes all the buyers. And what that means is a lot of buyers that are sitting on the fence right now because they're like, oh, this is still a little bit too high for me. I'm not sure I want to, get into the market and buy a home with, rates, bumping up against 7% or above 7%. Then if they jump into the market, we start having more demand on our supply. Now, our inventory has started to come up some. We're getting more new listings coming to market. But on the flip side, and something I want to look at today, is what's going on with some of those listings that were maybe at wishful pricing for sellers, looking for the numbers we used to have a couple of years ago, where we get like multiple offers and really driving up those prices. That's what some sellers are kind of sitting at. They're a little unrealistic on what's going on in our market because of affordability. So if we have some of those age out, expire, withdraw, go on, put on hold, cancel, that's taken away from our inventory. So yeah, we're maybe getting a few more new listings, but are we going to have some of those age out? So I want to start paying attention to what that looks like and what that does to our inventory, because rates and inventory impact what's going on with how many homes we're going to have, how many homes we're going to sell, and what your competition, if you're a buyer, looks like, and if you're a seller, what your competition and what your potential offers look like. So enough on that. The other thing that I wanted to talk about with rates is kind of the treasury note. So on a typical 10-year treasury, the mortgage rate's about 1.8% of a gap from treasury, 10-year treasury to the mortgage rate. Now, we haven't seen that in a very long time. We've been up in the 3%, way higher, way abnormal. It happens every once in a while, but it has been for quite some while. Now we're starting to bridge that gap a little bit. We're still not at that 1.8, but if we were at that kind of average 1.8, we would be sitting at mortgage rates around 6.5, somewhere around there. So Treasury rate is something to pay attention to within knowing where that is to the gap of our mortgage rate. So we're at 4.23 on the Treasury yield, and you can see how it bounces around. This is all of this year right in here. Let's see if I can show you here. So this is all this year, and then that's the year before. You could see where it really went a little cuckoo and got really high. But so paying attention to that is going to be important to see just kind of what that gap does, because it is getting a little more normalized. All right, so that's rates. Rates are coming down. The gap between the 10-year treasury and the mortgage rates are getting a little bit tighter. And if we were where we normally should be, or where we normally are, I should say, then we would be seeing 6%. What would that do to our market? 6% interest rates would bring everyone out. And we've seen that with new construction, because new constructions are, their lenders are offering sometimes 4.9, 5.5, and they're seeing great success in getting buyers into their homes. They're selling new construction because of the mortgage rate they can offer. So let's dive into what's going on with here we are. So I said I was going to look at some inventory and get an idea on where we're at there. I'll go into here in Victorville, and I'm just looking at Victorville, and let's look at active listings. Actually, month supply. Let's see month supply. So month supply, we're about 2.7. So we have about almost call it 2.5, 3 months supply of homes in Victorville area. Now again, every city is a little bit different. I'm just focusing just on Victorville. If you want to know more about any specific city, just send me that quick message and I'll make sure I get that data for you. But you can see that we're at this 2.7. So if we get mortgage rates continue to come down, some of these homes that I'm going to look at in a minute, how they expire and stuff, so we start getting a tighter inventory again, what is that going to do to our inventory? It's lower rates, more buyers come, so homes coming off the market, now we've got a shrinking inventory. The inventory is going to continue to shrink as more buyers, and now we're going to be back in that upward pressure on pricing. So before I look at expireds and stuff, I want to look at sales price. So in Victorville, and here I'm going to show you a couple different cities here up in the high desert. So sales price average for the month of June, you can see that we have this 4.5% increase, and we're sitting about an average of 446.8, call it 447. In sales price. Now, if I go over and I change this to, say, Apple Valley, let's look at some of the other areas. It's kind of a desired area to live in. You get a little bit more land. There's some new development out there. There's new development in Victorville as well, and Hesperia. There's a lot of new development, but I'm talking like shopping and stuff like that. Here in Apple Valley, they saw a 9% increase year over year. 457, 467 is average sales price out there. And let's take a look at, let's say, Hesperia. Let's see what they're looking at. So Hesperia, they saw 11% increase year over year. So we're still getting a very good buildup in equity if you're a homeowner. Now, if we get inventory shrinking down more because we have more things coming off the market being sold because interest rates are better or expiring, that just is going to add more upward pressure because of just simply supply and demand. Smaller demand, bigger supply, puts upward pressure, builds your equity, but builds up price point in homes. All right, so let's take a quick peek at some of those things I was talking about. So withdrawn for last week. Now you can see here that I have, my screen's a little lost. Wait, here we go. So if I'm looking at last week, 8 through 14. So withdrawn homes, we had a total of 6 homes that were withdrawn last week. These were taken off of the market, because they just weren't selling. You can see 3 of these had some price reductions. So, and you can also see kind of how long. Now this one here is commented nominally with only 2 days on the market, and it was taken off. There's that was obvious the story there, but these ones that were sat on the market, they didn't get the offer that they wanted, so they went ahead and took it off the market. So those were withdrawn. The ones that were on words are hard today, that are on hold, meaning they're not really sure if they're going to come back on the market. Maybe they're going to wait till spring. Who knows? Maybe they're doing some work to their home. There's some different reasons why people go put their their home on a hold. And these ones here, you can see there's 14 of them that were put on hold. A few of these, a good grip of them are, longer, sitting on the market longer. All right, so let's take a peek at, all right, here we go. Let's go to canceled. How many were canceled last week up here in the high desert? We had 13 homes canceled. Let's look at days on market. I think days on market is really telling. So it's really just about, did that seller get what they're looking for? And you see all these price reductions. There's a good grip of them. Almost half had price reductions, still didn't get the buyer, so they decided to take it off the market. And lastly, let's look at expired. So expireds for last week, we had a total of 5. These ones sat on the market for the full length of their contract. 3 of them had price reductions. 2 of them didn't budge. And here's where they're sitting on the market. So these 115 days. I think this is really telling. And what I've been thinking about is what that's going to do to our inventory. So are we going to start seeing a lot of these, kind of age out, like I said, and kind of go off of the market? All right, so I'm talking a lot about rates and how that impacts our buyers and sellers. Sellers, if we've got lower interest rates, you're going to get more activity. You just are. We have seen that if we get below 7, it unleashes people. And like I said, new construction has noticed that they're getting a great success by reducing their interest rates and getting people into interest rates like in a 5.25, 5.5, even 4.99. They're selling a lot of homes that way. It's really, people are rate dependent. They're rate conscious, at the end of the day, because it makes a difference on their monthly mortgage in a big, big way. And the 3%, those aren't coming back anytime soon. I think the market has finally realized that. Let's look at a couple more things and then I will let you go. But again, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you like this information, if you want more detailed information, send me those messages, reach out, let's get together and let's talk about, what I can show you that you might find more interesting or that you just want to know. All right, so we've got the last week in active listings, we had a total of 97 up here. And you can see that I'm doing Adelanto, Apple Valley, Hesperia, Oak Hills, Phelan, and Victorville's hiding in there, but Victorville's in here as well. So that's the area that I'm kind of covering right now when I look at these numbers. That's true for expireds, canceled, holds, withdrawn that I just showed you. I'm showing you the high desert, not every single city, but the majority of them in a group. All right, so active listings, we have 97. Now, the one thing I want to show you is, with this new lawsuit that a lot of you I'm sure have heard about with regards to real estate commissions. As a seller, you have an option to decide, what kind of commission you want to offer to your listing agent, what kind of commission, if you want to offer a commission to the buyer broker that brings you a buyer. Now, a lot of people are like, they're uncertain, like what should I offer if I want to offer? Again, all negotiable, right? It's every bit of it's negotiable, and it always has been negotiable. But there's a lot of talk of it, so a lot of people maybe didn't realize just how negotiable it was. But let's take a look just so you can see. If you're a seller, I think this would be telling. We're looking at what's currently active just in this last week. So super fresh, relevant information. And I'm going to show you this right here. This is the buyer broker commission that they're offering. So you can see on average, we're sitting anywhere. You got 2, 3, 2.5, 2.5. It just gives you a really good idea on if you're trying to figure out what should I offer, what's a good number, what's kind of the average. Ask your listing agent to pull up the MLS and give you an idea what a lot of sellers are currently offering, because that way you can feel like, okay, am I offering something that's going to help me bring a buyer? Or do I need to kind of raise it? Do I need to lower it? Like what's the average? What's it looking like? So again, I think this is just really good information for those of you that are looking to sell your house. You're just trying to think, do I want to offer a commission, number one? And if I do want to offer a commission, what's that look like? And you got 2s, 2.5s, 3s. There's quite a few 3s on this page. 2.25. So if there's a 4%. So you can see that, at the end of the day, 2.5 seems to be the kind of the main number. But again, ask your listing agent to pull this up for you and show you some of the actives. So it's a good conversation to have on what's going to bring you a buyer, what's going to be the best idea to get you activity in your property. Again, I'll say it again, commissions, real estate commissions are negotiable. So make sure you know that. All right, so let's take a look at how many went under contract last week up here in the high desert. So for the week of 8 through 14, we had 31 that went. Now both active new listings and under contract are up week over week by 6 or 7 each. So we're seeing an increase and being pretty stable. So that's good for us out here. But this is what went under contract. We had a total of, I just lost the number, so let's take a look. A total of 31. Now what I like to look at here is days on market. Now 31, so we'll call it 15 to be halfway in the middle here, right? So on 15, it's taking an average of 39 days. So the top, it's why I don't like to go, like that's in the middle, right? I meant to say median. I don't like to go to an average because these high ones have been sitting here for a while. Now these might be ones that can be considering, maybe do I take it off the market? Do I continue to do price drops? And this is also something I like to look at, is how many price drops are happening. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and these ones went up. So 10 took a price cut. These 2 went up, and they've been on the market 11 days, 9 days. Now, what would cause somebody to raise their price? They could have gone under contract. They could have had an appraisal and realized that they could have priced it more because it appraised higher. Could be a number of reasons. They could have taken it off the market, done some work, raised it up. So there's a few reasons why you can raise your price, why people do raise their price. All right, so I think that is pretty much what I wanted to share with you guys today. Again, I think it's really important to watch mortgage rates, where they're going. Watch that treasury to rate, kind of see that gap see if it gets back down to a more normal. It's hard to tell when that's going to happen, but I think we're headed in the right direction, because we used to be at that 3%. We're now sitting around, I think it was around a 2.6% difference. We're not quite at that 180, but if we were at a normal treasury, we would have a interest rate right now on a conventional loan about 6.5, which would put our FHA and VA loans below that 6%. That will bring a ton of buyers back to the market, but it'll also gobble up our inventory. That's my takeaway from today. Watch those things. If you want any specific information about the area that you live in, your neighborhood, you want to know what your neighbor sold his house for, you send me a message. Let's get together. Trish Vander Mooren, High Desert Homes, bringing you that market update on a weekly basis. I'll see you next time.